I'm going to be honest with you. The things I'm going to share with you in this video, they're absolutely boring. So boring, in fact, they could even bore my grandma to death. However, what they will do for you is to make you $10,000 per month and even more than that. When we get to 30,000 subs on YouTube, I'll give away $2,000. All you need to do to win that money is to watch the video until the end, to subscribe and to share with a friend. And I also have a gift for you. In the description of this video, you will find a free training where I show you exactly how I went from making $0 to over $1,200 per day with 95% in profit margins with my own business. And right now, I'm also offering free strategy calls where together we come up with a game plan for you to get to $10,000 per month as quickly as possible. The link will be in the description below. Now, what I really want you to understand is that you have to become the 1% of the 1%. So when you think about the 99% versus the 1%, this is probably what you're thinking about. You're thinking about the 99% of people. So these people all, graduating, paying for super expensive degrees, and then they spend the rest of their lives in a tiny office working for somebody else. They barely ever get to go on vacation, and when they do, it's on a budget. And so of course you don't want this kind of life. If you're watching this right now, it's because you're more ambitious. Now, some people, maybe they don't necessarily want to have a Rolex or a sports car, but what they want is freedom from this system. So whatever it is that you want, it's not this life, that's for sure. Because these people are promised that if they spend hundreds of thousands on a good university degree, they'll be able to get a good job and be secure. And one day they can retire and finally have the freedom to do all the things that they want, which are literally the things on this side. And so when I was a kid, I saw most people around me, settling for this mediocre path. And I thought, what's the point? Why not just aim for this when you're young, instead of waiting for it when you're old, as if that kind of stuff was going to be given to you on a silver platter? Of course not. Nobody's going to care about your dreams, your goals, your ambitions more than you. And so the reason why I say you have to become the 1% of the 1% is because even among the people that want to start a business and become financially free, there's what the 99% do versus the 1% that actually succeeds. So let me share with you exactly what I mean. As you can see here on this side, I've got the 99% of people who fail miserably. So as you can see, they've got literally no money. And then there's me and you. So we're on the side of the 1% that actually succeeds and makes significant money online. As you can see, I've put the screenshots again. But basically, 99% of people focus on the wrong business models. They focus on dropshipping. They focus on Amazon FBA, on affiliate marketing. But these businesses come with major flaws. Slow growth, very small profit margins, lots of startup capital required, and a headache to deal with. So let's do the math to $10,000 per month and more with the path that 99% of people take versus the path that you and I take. So the goal either way is to make $10,000 per month. And most people, what they do is, like I said, they're doing their dropshipping, their Amazon FBA, their affiliate marketing. And for example, if they do affiliate marketing, they typically earn $4 per commission, so per sale. Meaning, if they wanted to make $10,000 per month, do you know how many sales they would need per month? Over 2,500 sales. And that would be achievable if you could run some paid ads or you had a big audience with millions of followers. But if you don't, then what happens then? Absolutely nothing. Now, when it comes to Amazon FBA, you need at least 10K to honestly 20K more realistically if you want to be able to get started with this business, because you need to buy a lot of inventory up front, and then Amazon is going to take a cut because they're the ones shipping the products to the consumers. So if you've got a proven product that you absolutely know works, not just in your head, but you've proven it with numbers because people actually buy it, then that can work. But even then, profit margins are tiny. And with dropshipping, what happens is your profits are 5 to 20%. With Amazon FBA, it's the same, but because Amazon takes a fee again, it's going to be closer to the lower end of the range. So with those business models, with tiny profit margins, as you can see, 5 to 20%, let's say you make 10K, how much do you actually keep? You're only keeping $500 to $2,000. And now there's corporate tax, which is going to be about 25%. So let's do the math together. 25% of 500, that's 125. So if we remove 125, that's 375. You'd be left with 375. Then 2,000, let's do 25% of 2,000. As you can see, 500, so you're left with 1.5K, 1.5K. And so that's after your corporate tax. So originally, remember, you made $10,000 per month. Like, honestly, you could flex on social media, you know? It's what all of these dropshippers do. They flex impressive numbers, but when you dive deep, I mean, there's barely anything left by the end of the month. I mean, you're basically making the same salary as somebody working at McDonald's full-time. As you can see right now, I literally typed, what's the average monthly salary of McDonald's employee? And the first website that pops up is literally Indeed. So it's a website to hire people to do jobs, so they know what they're talking about. And they said that the average McDonald's salary ranges from approximately $22,000 per year up to over $100K for a director. But most people are not directors, obviously. So if you divide this, $22,000 a year times 12, it's $1.8K per month. So, I mean, look at this. The person working at McDonald's is literally making more money than you. And then people are seriously convinced that in order to succeed, they need to be doing Amazon FBA. They need to be doing dropshipping or affiliate marketing. Can you see now how flawed this is? You're more broke than somebody literally working at a fast food joint. If that doesn't tell you everything, I don't know what else will. But what about you and I? Because we're smarter than that. We don't fall for the same traps as everybody else. After all, what we aim for is the 1% life. So even in business, we can't do what 99% of people are doing, because otherwise we end up exactly like them, broke, desperate, and hating life. So when we make $10,000 per month, we actually have high profits. So typically 95%. I know it sounds insane, but it's true. Per sale, you get 95% in profit. And the reason for that is simple. We sell services and we sell coaching offers. So just to give you a few examples, let's say you could help somebody to lose weight. You sell it as a coaching offer, okay? And let's say you could help businesses to get more leads. You could sell it as a service that pays you monthly. And so as you can see, the only cost we have, it's really our knowledge and our time. And that's why profits are 95%. The reason why it's not 100%, it's because when you work with Stripe or PayPal or these kinds of payment processors, they typically take a small percentage. And so on average, especially if you're doing currency conversion, it's typically about 5%. Normally it's lower, so your profits can be literally even higher than that. They can be up to 97%, which is insane and completely unheard of, but that's basically it. Meaning that when we make $10,000 per month, we keep $9,500. And let's say we pay the same corporate tax, 25%. How much do we keep after that? Let's do the math together. Minus 2,375. As you can see, $7,125. So which business model seems better to you? Being out-earned by fast food employees or making top 1% income in the world? What seems better to you? I mean, the choice is yours. So I really want you to understand that success is very hungry when it comes to your time, your energy, and your focus. And you want to focus on one thing only. Remove everything else. If you're working on multiple business models, you're doing Amazon FBA and dropshipping and making TikTok content, drop all of it. Focus on selling a premium offer. Because what I forgot to tell you is that with these kinds of offers, so let's say you're doing like 99% of people, price per customer is typically going to be about $50. Meaning to make 10K per month, you'd need 200 customers, okay? That's a lot of people. But with us, price is typically anywhere between $1,000 and it can go up to $10,000. The average being 1K to 5K. Meaning, let's say we have a price of 2K and we want to make 10K per month, we only need 5 customers. Can you see the difference? Can you see why our business model is so much better than most business models out there? Now, the reason why I put the cover of this book here, it's because the whole point of this book is to basically tell you focus on one thing. So do I suggest you read it? Not necessarily, because I've just summed it up in one phrase, but you want to focus on one thing. I mean, this thing became a bestseller because people forget the most basic things ever. And I would know because not only from my own experience, but I've also spoken with hundreds of people, entrepreneurs and people who wanted to become successful online. And every single time, one thing really stood out to me. The people who were trying to sell multiple offers, work with multiple different types of customers at the same time, they were always the ones struggling. First, you want to focus on selling one thing and doing it better than most people. That's it. That's how you make a lot of money. So let me give you an example again. There's the 99% of people and there's me and you. And so as you can see, the goal is the same for all of us, to make 10K per month. So let's see, what do most people do? What most people do is they want to reach their goal, but instead of going in a straight line, what they're doing is they're doing this. They see a new business model, they get distracted, bam, bam, here and here and here. And so of course they never reach their goal. But what we do, it's that we do this until the finish line. And you may wonder why it's not a straight line. That's because it's not realistic. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to run into roadblocks. There's going to be challenges on the way. So it's not that simple. But I mean, if you look at these two paths, at least we reach the end goal while they never do. Now, I want to share with you something which is extremely important, and it's that you want to identify the 20% of activities that bring you 80% of the results, and you double down on those. So here I put literally a picture that I found online, and it basically shows you 80% of what you do only brings 20% of your results, whereas there is that tiny 20% of things that you do that brings you 80% of the results. And that is what we want to focus on. So to give you a few examples, for me in my consulting business, the 20% of activities that bring me 80% of the results, it's literally just making content, taking calls. That's literally it. Anything else, it's completely irrelevant. Tweaking my website, even if we go down into editing and things like that, it's all things I don't need to do myself. I only have to do these two activities, and that's basically it. And if we wanted to go even deeper, I would only need to make the content. I don't even need to take the meeting myself. I could have somebody else do it for me. Now, I want to share with you a very important rule. Don't touch your phone for the first 2 to 6 hours of the day. This is extremely important. Most broke people I see, the first thing they do when they wake up is to grab their phone, and it's not to turn off their alarm. The worst part is they sleep with their notifications on, their Wi-Fi on, they're not in airplane mode, and so when they grab their phone, maybe they genuinely just want to turn off their alarm. But what they do is that they see all of those notifications on their screen, and now they can't resist, so they click on it because they've got new messages from friends, from family. And now they get super distracted. And I mean, that's exactly how they end up scrolling endlessly on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat every morning. And then tell me, after you've done this, do you feel like sitting at your computer chair and doing the boring work you need to succeed? You won't, because your brain literally wants the fastest way to get dopamine right now. So if this is the fastest way to get dopamine, what's going to happen? The quality of your work is going to be extremely low because you won't be able to focus properly. And that's how people end up working 12 hours a day and they're not going anywhere. They don't see any results because they can't focus, because the first thing they do when they wake up is to literally bombard themselves with dopamine. So of course now the boring activities you need to do, well, they're too goddamn boring. Now I want you to focus on this 4-step process. If you can focus on this 4-step process, you're gonna make so much cash. Honestly, your life will never be the same. I'm not even joking. The first thing is an offer, because if you don't have an offer, you've got nothing to sell to no one, you're not going to make any money. I think it's pretty obvious, but I give you a few examples. Some of my customers, they help people to lose weight without having to spend hours in the gym or give up the foods they love. Some of my customers, they help people to invest in the stock market, to learn a language, to get their dream job. Some of my customers, they also provide done-for-you lead generation services to businesses. Some provide video editing services, etc. And a lot of my customers, they also came to me, and originally they felt like they had nothing to teach to anyone. So they had imposter syndrome. They felt like they couldn't sell a coaching offer. Now I give them a simple process to identify their strengths, and usually they're able to come up with a great offer. But when they're not, we simply show them how to sell any service by leveraging remote contractors. And the advantage of doing this is that first, you get a customer, the customer pays you, and then you pawn off the work to a remote contractor, so to speak, and they get paid for it. You literally brought them customers for free, and you keep most of the profit. So it's literally a win-win for everyone. Because the CEO in any company, he's not the one in the trenches doing the boring work every single day. He's got people to do it for him. Instead, what he does, it's to make the right decisions, to move the company forward, to execute. And then he has other people executing on his decisions. And if you separate these two, the thinking and the execution, it allows for more creativity. Because if you're like hustling 24 hours a day, you don't even have time to think. So your job as a CEO, it's not to do necessarily, it's to think. Then there's traffic. You could be selling the best offer in the world, have the best product ever. But of course, if nobody knows that you've got something to sell, you're not going to make any money. And so for traffic, we use social media. We also use, you could have referrals, but I don't suggest you rely solely on referrals. It's a bad idea. There's also direct outreach or like appointment setting strategies. And then there is paid ads. But first, I don't suggest you focus on paid ads. I suggest you focus on organic methods. And then there's sales. Again, you could have the best product or service in the world, but if you can't even sell it, you're not going to make any money. Sales is a key skill you need to master. And if you have a problem with somebody selling you something, that's why you're not making as much money as you want. In every one of these videos, I'm selling you something. If you have a problem with that, that's probably why you're still stuck and you're not financially free right now. You've got to become comfortable with sales, because sales are the lifeblood of literally every business. Money is the oxygen of a business. And then there's delivery. So there's typically a few different methods of delivery. There's one-to-one coaching, there's also group coaching, and then there's typically done-for-you services. That's basically it. And even within done-for-you services, You can do it yourself, DIY, I can't even write that, or you can use remote contractors like I shared with you. So that's basically a 4-step process that if you implement correctly, will honestly not just make you 10K per month, but that stuff makes millions. Now, be honest with yourself. If you already knew how to make $10,000 plus per month online, then chances are you would have done it already. You wouldn't have been watching video after video to figure out how to become successful or how to make money online, which is why right now to help you, I've recorded a free video training where I show you everything I did step by step to go from $0 to $1,200 per day with my consulting business. And right now, I'm also offering free consultation calls where together we come up with a game plan for you to get to $10,000 per month as quickly as possible. But be quick if you're interested because we don't accept everyone and our spots are very limited. With that being said, I will see you on the other side.